I was driving home and I said, I don't really want to, I'll make the video tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll make a video. And I wasn't overly upset or angry about the day as a whole. There were some points that were a little frustrating, but I feel like, I'm over them now. And when I look at tomorrow, I got to get up early tomorrow. I don't even know what time I'm going to get home. I got to get up early tomorrow. 8 a.m. early start for the babies. I didn't even tell Kelly. She's going to kill me. 8 a.m. early start for the babies tomorrow in Ohio. They are being videoed. Now, I will tell you right now, there are a couple of scratches. Jimboree, who trained on Monday and felt great today, jogging, looked great, was eating. Amy had said, I don't know if we really need to train her tomorrow. Why don't we just leave her the weekend to get it, finally just shake this bug? And she's right. She's right. So she scratched, and I forgot that Freedom Hill had 2 splints crowd and was only jogged a couple of days this week. So she's going to have tomorrow off also. So Amy talked herself out of two mounts tomorrow. But we do have to start at 8 a.m. Now, I booked off the weekend because Oliver's first baseball tournament of the year starts on Friday. And we will be in Ontario for the whole weekend. Just a ton going on today. I'm trying to watch races from the Meadows. I'm trying to watch races from Ontario. I'm trying to focus on the races I'm in. Frustrated because it is raining all night and muddy. Now, I guess I was lucky. When we were on the track with the first race, the rain had ended, but it was a little sticky and muddy. And then it poured for the middle part of the card off and on. Tell you what, the clouds looked mighty dark when I was leaving the track after race 1. I don't know what it looks like right before a tornado, but it was pretty eerie looking. I know that. It looked like it was going to blow over, and then all of a sudden it just got black. Anyway, it subsequently poured after that. And by the time I made it back, the track was hard, but it wasn't too muddy at all. And man, I was happy with our 2 horses. So let's start from the top. We'll start from the top. Kings County was the first drive of the day. Now, I talked to Brady Brown and Tim. We had made up a new set of hobbles for Kings County. This time of year, we'll start switching out the old ropes and pulleys and changing what the babies are training down into racing hobbles, which may not make a whole lot of sense for you, but I make all the hobbles in the barn. All of them are made by me, and I just want them ready for the summer. So Kings County's ropes were, for whatever reason, seemed a little short, a little ratty looking. So we cleaned them all up and put a new set of ropes and pulleys on his hobbles. Now, in doing so, I just mentioned to you that the rope was a little bit longer. So I had said to Brady, just warm him up. I wouldn't stretch him out too much because he has been known to bleed, but at least let him rattle a little bit down the lane into the turn and get a sense of how the hobbles are and how they're fitting for you, and if you like them where they're at. Brady's a sharp guy, a very underrated horseman from around the Meadows, and a good driver, and he's got a good sense of how the horses should feel. So I completely trusted him when I said, just see how he feels. Just put him in a place where he's comfortable and then race him like that. Now, when you race him, he doesn't race good from off the pace, but depending on how he warmed up and what level of confidence you have in the horse, you proceed accordingly. He goes out of there a little bit with him, looking for a hole. It looked like he was going to slide neatly into the 4-hole, and then Brian's then backed up quick, and there was a bit of a kerfuffle, and it looked like he was going to make a break. How many times have you seen Kings County mildly jostled in the first turn and roll off stride? He got manhandled in the first turn and had to rip him sideways and then bring him back to the back. Never offered to run. Pretty sure-footed. Ended up 3 wide in the last turn, closing in from 4th. Beat, length and a half? 2 lengths? Trotted 55 and a piece. Although the mile wasn't his fastest, I thought it was I thought it was a pretty impressive mile from Kings County. One of my partners said after, looks like he raced good, but I don't know if you'll ever see him in the open again. I would caution anybody into guessing what a horse will do. This is a very tough breed of animal, and although Kings County may not return to the Kings County of a couple of years ago, that was a very good mile from him today. Now, we do have people texting me. We do have some decisions to make on where we send our horses. I have told Nick Lems that we'll be sending some horses to Minnesota, or horses to Minnesota, trying to figure out who's the right horses to go. Obviously, I'm very impressed with how Kings County raced today, so I would like to get another look at him at the Meadows, and if he's going to fit better there, then he'll stay there. We'll figure something out. But for right now, I'll just leave it as I was thoroughly impressed, one, by the horse, and two, and quite frankly, by the way Brady drove him, to a great drive by him, and I think he'll be that much better next week for either myself, or if I can't be there, then definitely Brady again. Next was Gypsy Hill. Really pleased with the way Gypsy Hill is coming along. I told you guys, just give him a few starts. You can see how he left out. I was real quiet with him in the first turn, just trying to get him to settle. You can almost see him. If you go back and look at all his races last year, he was never confident. He was never comfortable. He was just strong and wiry and looking for a fight. And those breaks at the start of the year were an extension of last year mentally. And it was a chore to get him squared away. Sometimes it's just a little bit here, a little bit there. Other times, we talk about wholesale changes and big changes to the horses. We made some significant changes to his shoeing and his equipment. And lo and behold, we kind of found the right combination, so to speak. And he was very good last week, very good again tonight. As I said to Jason, you could see him getting into the last turn. He was just not 100% sure of himself. He'll get to a point, the way he's trotting, where he'll come to that turn and he'll attack. And at that very point, you're going to see a very good form of Gypsy Hill. I think there's a really good horse lurking under the surface, and as soon as we get him to where he is comfortable and now he wants to go back into attack mode, I think we're going to have a lot of fun with that Gypsy Hill for sure. Now, Drebin was scratched. I told you guys he was a little rowdy in the paddock today and cut his right hind leg, just a little cut down on the bottom of the ankle. Dr. Bosenjack had to stitch it. 2 stitches. Been there, done that. But the anesthesia alone, the withdrawal time on those medications would negate him from being able to race tonight. So my hope is he'll be able to race next week. George of the Jungle looked a little pacey down the lane, but as I was watching the video, I watched it a couple of times. I can't say that I'm certain. As I said to Dominic, it looks like he might be interfering a little bit behind. I know the flip-flops are on him up front to help his front feet and his knees with confirmation, but they may end up pushing him up into his jacks and high shins, which at high speed, when he's getting tired especially, will end up with him interfering and making breaks like this. So before we jumped in, and myself also, before I jumped into conclusions, one, what kind of shape are his feet in? Are they a little sore? Is there any way we can tinker with those and get the flip-flops themselves off of him, or are they absolutely necessary, which is very possible? And two, if so, what changes are we going to make? That's if he's interfering. Looked to me like he was. Maybe it was just that the track was hard. There was a ton of breakers at Mohawk tonight, an absolute ton of them. Maybe it was just a hard track. Who knows? But he certainly looked to me like he was an easy third before he got pacey and made a break. And it was obviously equally obvious that he was going to make that break. You could see that coming for a good 2, 3, 4, 5 strides away. And finally he just got a little shuffling and rolled off stride. But nevertheless, very talented colt. Just have to get him where he's comfortable on a full-time basis. Ready for landing. Again, point of contention. Scoped him. No, I thought for sure they would say he shut his air off. No redness, no bruising. Some pimples, which obviously you're going to find likely a little bit of a high AST or something in his blood. I said to Dominic, listen, I know that everybody's working as hard as they can on this horse, but I can't just continue to watch that take place. And that is, listen, there's lots of horses that we didn't get along with in Ohio, or Tim didn't get along with, or Stacy, or Eric. It happens. and for whatever reason, I'm going to take the horse over to Ohio with me. I'll send him over to Tim. I'm not confident he's going to get around a 5/8. This is what makes this decision, and has made this decision a difficult one to make, and one that I'm not super confident in, because I don't know if he'll get around the Meadows. I want to be around that horse right now. We have an entire summer of staking coming, and those are 2 abysmal races stacked on top of the best race of his life. So it literally was 1 step forward, 2 steps back, and he's a tricky horse, right? Very difficult horse to drive. Tyler did nothing wrong tonight. He drove the horse great. The horse just was not present. So I want to take a look under the hood and see what is going on with Ready for Landing, and see if we can't get this guy in 2 steps forward and no steps back. That would be great. So really the only contentious race tonight for me was Ready for Landing. And again, I know it's frustrating for Dominic. I've been there a million times. When you're doing your best, you go out. Listen, I felt like a jackass the other night when I drove J4 Beachboard. It's a tough game. It's not for the faint of heart. But at the same token, we are going to be making changes. I had told Eric today, Race for Landing is going home to Ontario. I made my mind up. We could have raced him in Ohio, and he may end up in Scioto. He may end up in Plainridge. He may end up in the Poconos. But for right now, he's going to Ontario. We've had him there before. We had luck there. It's a good track for him. I'd like to see him stretch out and become a nice horse. I continue to rattle that chain, that I believe there's a good horse in there. Seen him, well, he is a good horse. But is he a great horse? I gotta get some gas here. I think now is as good a time as any to do so. I believe. Am I even in the right lane here? Yeah. So anyway, no hard feelings. I just think I owe it to myself and you and the horse to see if I can't help with our boy Ready for Landing. And that's it, nothing more. As I said, I guess I'll get that out of the way. Race for Landing is heading back to Ontario. I don't know if he's leaving Monday from Kentucky or Saturday. I haven't had confirmation from Doyle Transport. They wanted me to get him shipped to Lexington, but Lexington's not open, right? So it's not like there's a lot of people shipping broodmares from Oak Grove to Lexington. So they were just, I looked around, I couldn't find anybody, so Doyle's going to have to pick him up and take him back to Ontario with them. I've made my mind up also. Captain Incredible is going to Ontario. He's going to Harry for the next little while. I had a lot of options. Oak Grove was one of them. And I certainly no dig on Eric. I have no problem with Eric training the horse. We just didn't have, with the open house coming up, we didn't have any horses to train him with there. And I couldn't find some that I was going to send there before the open house. So, and given the fact that I'm not confident or certain he's going to race at Oak Grove, so there was no certainty, there was no necessity to get him down there. So, Ontario, he's bound. He's Ontario bound. He's going to Harry Saturday, I believe. As I said, we're going to continue to shuffle. We have to get this thing right. We're going to have horses. There's going to be a group of horses leave. They're going up for sale, and they're going to be gone in the next 2 weeks. And then we're going to continue to shuffle our useful horses to the most useful places. And that is not an easy thing to do, but it is ongoing right now in the old melon. So, Ready for Landing. Coming to, he'll race in Pennsylvania maybe next week, depending on what his blood says. Did not know he's coming over here to race at Northfield or Pennsylvania. Race for Landing is going back home. Captain Incredible is going to Ontario. Now, Texong Soprano, horse race great. Geez, I thought Scotty caught a break coming out of last turn. The hill horse made a break on Yannick, and Scotty moved over right in an attacking position, and I thought he was going to roll by them. And that's the open trot. That's a big ask, and I thought the horse raced great, and his racing great. Megan's doing a great job with him, as is Scotty. A very close fourth, I believe, in the open tonight. Hallie in the Clouds, flat, but in a very tough spot. She fit the class that Really Don't Care was in. But and Dominic felt bad. He said, put her in the numbers of 2, and the other filly, I said, it's okay. We already had one in the other class anyway. So, Hallie in the Clouds didn't race that well. I don't know what she trotted, but looked a little flat. Scoped her after. There was some mucus. There was some blood. Now, I know the discussion would be started with, well, the mucus caused the blood. Okay. And what if it didn't? We're just going to have blood next time? And if we're going to see blood in May of their 3-year-old season, which is fine. There's lots of horses you're going to see that. I would just as soon put them on Lasix. It's the same story with Pickpocket. The exact same story with Pickpocket. We have the ability to use a medication that can help with that. There shouldn't be any trepidation in doing so. There's a lot that goes into that decision, but quite frankly, I don't see how you don't put Pickpocket in this case, Hallie in the Clouds on Lasix. So she will enter the Lasix program right away. Now, I was extremely happy with Irresistible Sun. I think that him and Gypsy are going to have an incredible year. Then Sweeney had that great race last week also. I think we just have a number of horses we're going to have a lot of fun with. And this guy in particular leaves quick. He wanted to be on the front tonight too. He felt so comfortable on the front, and then when I could see Dan Noble backing up to let Chris Page in the 2-hole, what's coming next, the automatic move, and clears to the front. And Irresistible Sun was good, but I'll be honest, he did feel a little more comfortable on the front than he did following Dan's horse. And Dan's horse is a beautiful horse. You ever seen that Nap horse? No Nap Nash. He's named after Dan Noble bred that horse and sold him, and he's named after his son. And what a gorgeous colt he is. Big, fat, shiny bugger. And he raced great. And Irresistible Sun raced great too. And as I said to Jason, now we got him going in the right direction. I said, both these colts just need 2 or 3 starts. They're going to hit their peak right as the heart of the season starts. And just really impressed with both Gypsy Hill and Irresistible Sun tonight. They are perfect right now. Lauren's doing a great job. Jason's done a great job getting them all hung up and ready to go. And both of them were fantastic tonight. Really don't care. 57-4, first start of the year. Impressive. I was happy. Yeah, she got back off them, but that's the first time she's ever faced speed in her life. Look at her entire life. 2 minutes, 2-1, 2 minutes over those little bull rings. This was the first time she'd ever had any taste of any sort of speed whatsoever in her life, and I thought she raced well. She's not a killer. She's a nice little filly. We all know what she is. She's a filly we thought was better than she is, but she is very well bred. So this is almost the identical situation of Five Fish Species last year and what we thought of her and what we were going to do with her and what we ended up doing with her. It ended up being a very good season for her, and I think the same can be said for Really Don't Care. Now, obviously, Really Don't Care was literally twice as much as Five Fish Species at the sale, and that's not to say she's twice as well bred, but she is well bred. She is a good looking filly. Just let her fill it. I was happy with tonight. Does that mean she goes to Yonkers on the 20th in 11 days? I don't know if that's the right move. I'm going to talk to Harry, but I think maybe just hanging out there for a little bit. Pick our spots. Five Fish Species was great in the final last year, and she missed the first 2, if not 3, stake races, I believe, Excelsior Series is. So I think that's the smart play with her. I was happy with her tonight, and actually, listen, we raced 9 horses, never won a race, right? 8 horses. It wasn't a sparkling day by any stretch of the imagination. Having said that, Kings County, great mile. Gypsy Hill, great mile. George of the Jungle was going to be third and made a break. Tech Song Soprano, great mile in the open. Irresistible Sun, great mile. Really Don't Care, decent mile. The only downsides of the entire day, truthfully, was Ready for Landing, faltering and backing through the field. Fine. On the truck. He's coming over here. We're going to get a look under the hood. And Hallie in the Clouds, she bled. Not a bad day, really, truthfully speaking, I guess. Now, that's coming from an eternal optimist, but I'd say a pretty good day all in all. Tomorrow, big day coming up tomorrow now. Disregard, I don't know what's going on with the calendars here. Collector, 8:02 a.m. No, that's 8:02 p.m. JK Victory, 10:48 a.m. There's a trend here. That's 10:48 p.m. First starter of the day tomorrow will be Insider Trading. Very interested to see what takes place with her. Then we have Memory and Imagination. Super interested to see what takes place with him. Then in the evening, we got Winter Bells. Her time is running out, I think. Hopefully she races good tomorrow. And then Just before that will be Collector S, who is, what are your odds, Collector? 3-1. Good spot for him, obviously. And then rounding out the night with JK Victory, who is, what race are you in? You're 5-1, racing in the, I don't know what the hell kind of class that is. 16,000 class. Anyway, that is Friday, and on Saturday, obviously, we have Time Is On. Oh my God, what a packed day! Super excited. Time Is On My Side, Arison, I'm Fancy Like, Blanton's Blue, Prince Charmer, Purple People Eater, Sweeney, and Pickpocket. Now, aside, Pickpocket's not on the list yet. He will be. And Prince Charmer's 5-1. Aside from those two, I think every one of those horses' odds are 5-1 or less. Pretty good day, hopefully, on Saturday. Anyway, with that, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to get some gas, get on my way, and get home. Tomorrow, big morning. Lots of horses training tomorrow, and then off to an even bigger event, which is the start of Oliver's first baseball tournament of the season. Take care. I hope you had a wonderful night. Not a bad night. Not a great night, but not a bad night. Better days ahead. Take care.